1978, Golden Press released two comic books which gave adaptations of many UFO and alien encounters and experiences. The first comic book was called UFO Encounters, which I recently reviewed for you. Now, I'd like to show you UFO Mysteries, the second in the series. These two books compiled stories from UFO comics that were published in the 1960s by Cold Key Comics, a comic book company I remember well because that's when I was still collecting comic books as a kid, and they released a lot of cool stuff. But anyways, UFO Mysteries is a hefty 96 pages, and now of course being comic books that were aimed to the juvenile audience, some cases were sensationalized beyond belief. I read more than a few of those comic books back in the day, and I have to admit, they scared me. But looking at them now, I wonder how I could have been scared, but they did back in the 60s. So, the best way to review this particular comic is to show you a few of the stories in it, like I did last time. I will break these stories down panel by panel for you to enjoy, and I hope that you will. The first story is called The Night Visitor, and it took place on June 26, 1959 in the jungles of New Guinea with a missionary with the Anglican Church, and the story is told in 15 eerie panels. So let's take a look. An interesting and nicely illustrated story. Now, the facts of this next story are fairly accurate. I am familiar with this account as it is from my home state of Michigan, and I've done a lot of research into the UFOs that are sighted here in Michigan. So, the story is titled The Kinross Kidnapping. The events took place on November 13th, 1953, over Lake Superior. The story is told in only 9 panels. I would have liked to have seen more details and more panels, but it is nonetheless worth taking the time to look at it because it is pretty accurate with the facts. So, having said that, here we go. Back to a very mysterious night in 1953. Let's take a look at the Kinross Kidnapping. is presented in a unique pro and con way that allows the reader to decide what the truth is. Titled The Maury Island Mystery, which is told in 31 panels, graphically the story is compelling and the storytelling was really quite good. This is one of the longest stories in the comic, and my only complaint is that not all of the stories received the same longer treatment, because there were a few of them, well, many of them deserved longer treatment, but of course they were confined by how many pages they could publish. So, anyways, having said that, let's take a look at the Maury Island Mystery. Now here's a case that is a favorite of mine and is based on the September 14th, 1952 Flatwoods, Virginia encounter. If you've never read about the Flatwoods, Virginia encounter, you must. After you watch my video here, check it out on YouTube. There are many videos about the Flatwoods monsters. It is a fascinating story. So anyways, here, as I said, here the story is titled, Do Creatures from Outer Space Walk the Earth? Now, as presented in this comic book, so much has been changed that the piece looks like fiction rather than telling a factual account. The Flatwoods creature looked vastly different in the comic book than what was portrayed by the people who had actually seen it. The creature here is almost laughable, actually, in the comic book. And why would creatures with claws for hands design their controls for their advanced spaceship for five-fingered humans? Doesn't make any sense. But I don't think that's something that the writers looked at. You know, they didn't thinking probably nobody would notice that. The story, again, is told in 31 panels. It is a good story. I just wish it would have been more faithful to the actual account. So, let's take a look at what happened in the story titled, Do Creatures from Outer Space Walk Earth? The story of the Flatwoods creature. I wish that I could share all the stories here with you, but then that wouldn't really be a review, would it? However, I am going to share one more with you, and it is titled The Unsmiling Men. Now, the encounter took place in October of 1954. I'd never heard of this case before, and I would have renamed it The Sad Puppy Men. You'll see why as you look at the panels. Now, in this encounter, a mother and her two children observe a UFO and those entities that were piloting it. Now, the story was told in 20 panels, but what they reported seeing, these UFO occupants, the aliens, looked like sad puppies, their faces. You almost want to take them out and hold them and cheer them up. But both the story and the art are very amateurish efforts, but it is kind of interesting to look at. So let's take a look at that. this review of UFO Mysteries. UFOs are indeed one of the really great mysteries, not just of our age, of any age, because they've been around for so long. Some people claim that they were in the Bible. I don't believe that, but I can see how some people would interpret that. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, subscribe, and comment. It's very much appreciated. I love you all, and I will see you again real soon. God bless you all. Love you. Hasta la vista, babies.